I'm back with the trading video today. So we're going to take a look at several different charts, and I'm going to explain a certain way of analyzing tokens on a way actually not too many people are doing, and you can miss out on quite a lot of data and analysis if you don't do this. Often a lot of whales also trade like this, and this is the way they're using their Bitcoin to trade, and they're using their Bitcoin basically to accumulate a lot of more Bitcoin. Easier said than done, of course, but I'm going to show you how important it is to look at the Bitcoin pairs for several altcoins if you're trading, and how closely this follows technical analysis basically. So what most people do is when they trade, and which is of course good to do, is the first thing you want to look at is the USDT pair. So people, they want to see when they want to change their dollars for their altcoin, what price they're buying. Or this is also how it's displayed on CoinMarketCap. This is the main way of people trade and decide, but it's certainly not the only way, and you're leaving out a lot of room of potential areas where you want to buy or sell if you do not look at the actual Bitcoin pairs. So let's start right away. I just took some charts here, and I will go and you will see quite soon why this is actually so important to take a look at both the BTC charts of several big altcoins as well as the USDT charts, of course. First, we have XRP versus BTC chart. Well, on the USDT chart, XRP was in a 7-year giant triangle, giant bull flag was forming there, and we had that breakout. So that was quite important. That's when we went from like 50 cents to $3 where we at now. But also good to see. You want to see confluence on the Bitcoin charts always. And so for this chart, it's basically quite simple. We have top liquidity, top side liquidity. As where I draw this box, you can see there's a lot of interest in this area, and you see we picked above it 2 times, but we easily got rejected, and we hit it a couple of other times. Then we have also quite some downside area of interest. Here we had 2 absolute lows, but then we kind of touched this area. So this is why I always like to do a box, because it displays it a lot better, where you see the actual interest. So this is the area of interest where buyers are stepping in, as you can see. This is the area of interest where sellers are coming into play. So now you want to see, this was a moment where XRP started to bump. Basically, we had touched this area again, and so this would have been the area interest where you wanted to buy. And then we had the explosion, and then you see here this trend line, downward sloping trend line, and we had a clear break above, and since then it's acting as a support level. So that's very interesting to see, because this is looks still quite bullish. And what I believe is it has been 2019 since we tapped this upside liquidity. We're holding now above here. I think I'm quite confident we're going to test this upside liquidity. Why is it so important to identify this? Because it's basically, let me get the drawer out here. Yeah, it's 300% here, or 320% if you're touching this upside liquidity against Bitcoin. That means if Bitcoin would stay the same and we will touch this area here, you're looking at a $9 XRP. But if let's say Bitcoin goes to 200K this cycle and we'll touch this upside, then you're really looking at the targets above $15. So that's why it's very important to zoom out and take a look at the XRP Bitcoin chart. This is how a lot of whales trade. So they rotate their Bitcoin to different altcoins, basically to generate more Bitcoin, which is is their main purpose. So quite an interesting chart. And of course, would we have a clear breakout here? Uh, that is where you really see the madness, of course. Uh, in case something like that would happen, I can just put my drawer here. In case you would go something like here, you're already looking at like 5,000%. So that means that XRP will actually break this box since 2013. This is how you get these this actual crazy targets for XRP. People say it's impossible until you just take a look at charts like this, and this is definitely not impossible on a chart like this. So that then you would get an actual rotation, and you will see actually a flipping at that point somewhere where XRP would flip Bitcoin. Yeah. So that's the first one. Let's go ahead look at some more BTC pairs. Well, here you had Sol versus BTC. Of course, we had this massive run up of Solana. I think we ran under $1 when it first got listed. It went all the way to $250. And here we had an area we could not go against. And then we had a clear downtrend, as you can see here. So then it's very important to identify that you're actually in this downtrend, because you don't want to be riding this all the way down. If you're having your Solana and you can see just percentage already here, you're holding this down. You're losing about 100% on your soul. 78% on your soul, which is absolutely crazy, of course. You see this web pattern is most oftentimes a bullish continuation pattern, and this also clarifies time, which it would have been the perfect breakout and retest. If you zoom out, let's see. You can see here, once we broke out this trend, that we had the retest, and this would have been the buying opportunity where we had an impulse wave up. So on the high time frame, moves like this, they are huge. It's another 250% riding this up here. Then this upward sloping wedge usually is kind of bearish, which it was in this case. We broke down below, and now it's kind of hovering. It's not too clear for Solana where we're going at this moment against BTC. I personally think we don't have too much left this bull run for Solana. I mean, we of course can go to 400, 500, but I don't think it's going to do such crazy numbers anymore. I think the most of the run is done for Solana. That's just my opinion. Then we have ETH. It's very important to look at this one, especially if you're rotating this. Of course, the two biggest cryptos. So if you can rotate this at the right time, you can make crazy amounts of money. Also, as you can see here, this is clearly upside liquidity, which is what we tapped here in November 2021, 2022 again. Since then, it's Bitcoin has kind of been outperforming. Here we had this long uptrend, but this was a very important point where you would have, if you've been an ETH holder and you watch these charts, this would have been a point where you could have decided, okay, this is not looking good for Ethereum. We broke this upward trend, and we rejected here. Now it's maybe a good time to rotate back into Bitcoin. And if you would have done that, this is just this is almost 70% downside, which you would have saved yourself from. So even if you're like an Ethereum holder, still there's this possibility to rotate, and people do the rotation, of course, but they mostly rotate back into USDT. And this is just another way of there's a good amount of people, successful traders, who don't even look at their USDT, but they're just there to stack more Bitcoin, And yeah, if you look at it over the long run, Bitcoin has just been going up and up each cycle. So if you would have stacked that instead of USDT, yeah, it's basically a multiplier. Um, Another one. Oh yeah, let's see where we're actually heading. So we had a clear bounce here. Also quite interesting. This was an area where you can see this here was actual interest, and first this was the real strength. You can see here, then broke out here, retest, and again bounced. So right now, I would say we're still in an uptrend. You know, the trend is your friend. We're forming a new uptrend up here, so I expect more continuation. And it's just with XRP, likely we're going to touch the upside here for Ethereum. I do think, yeah, Ethereum is not that. Don't see the potential as great as, for example, XRP for multipliers, but still, this is quite a good amount. Then one I'm holding myself is spot. I think it's finally time for quant soon. You can see this is very long downtrend here. You can also see this is a very clear trend because we had a lot of touches. And right now you see the downside trend actually making higher lows here. So we're getting to this point where this is almost has to make a decision. And if you zoom out on this chart, you might think like, oh, this is not to get up there. How much could that actually be? But if you take the percentage, this is almost 900% in case you would go back here, which is absolutely nuts. Of course, there's no guarantee if you get a breakout that you go above there. But I think, yeah, this is going to break in the upside. Quant has had a lot of good news. I think it's very undervalued on the mental side point. And it's about time we break upside. And even if you go halfway, let's say you go to here, it's 300% on the current Bitcoin price, which is nuts. Then we have Chainlink, a very beautiful, clean lock chart, if you ask me. First, we had a couple of years of uptrend from 2017, from 2020, and here we broke the uptrend. And since then, we have been in a downward wedge. This is ultimately a bullish continuation pattern most of the time. So this is what I'm expecting here as well. As you can see here, it's also the downturn. It starts to touch this. Yeah, could see further consolidation here, of course. But at some point, we're going to break to the upside, in my opinion. And this is, yeah, as you can see on the high time frame, this takes a long time to actually play out. But even if you're, let's say you're a Chainlink holder and you just want to make more Chainlink, so this area would have established a trend, or from the downside, this area, this was a clear. You could see 3 touches here. So when the first time we touched here, this would have been a clear buying area where you could have rotated some of your Bitcoin to Chainlink. Then we went upside, and then we did the same. So there was now a clear buying area, and as you can see, it has been repeating itself for a couple of times. But if you catch this only a few times, you basically more than double the Chainlink. So that's how crazy that is. Why it's so important to keep these charts open to actually take a look at this. This is on the little bit lower time frame. This was also it's a very clear pattern here. As you can see here, we broke trend, and then we went up almost 2x here. So yeah, as you can see, the TA on this works. There's a lot of people say like, oh, it doesn't matter. It's just a USDT chart, but it's clearly not the case. So yeah, just play around with this. Open this chart for your favorite altcoins, and you will see that this works. Then this one has been absolutely pumping Zcash, and as you can see, this is only a tiny pump, if you would say. Zcash has been going 3x or around something like that against the USDT pair in the last few weeks. And as you can see, here's where we had this break. This one was kind of hard to judge here, of course, but you could still You could see here, here's where we start getting above. You see the moving averages are getting below here. This is where the push happens. So this is how hard altcoins can push if you actually start to see a move versus Bitcoin. So that's yeah, the amounts of fixes are potentially crazy. Let's say it goes uh, even higher. Let's say it goes to this area of this is another 600%. So I don't personally expect Zcash to do that, but it's actually yeah, it's absolutely nuts. Then let's go to Cake. Cake has been pumping this week, of course, and we see the same yeah, downward sloping pattern for Pancake Swap. It's broken out against the USDT pair, but it has not broken out against the BTC pair. Here we had a breakout, clear breakout on the little bit smaller time frame, but now we're getting a rejection here. So imagine if we're breaking out on against Bitcoin on the higher time. Imagine the yeah possibilities here also, which is it's quite nuts. Even if you go back to here, so I would say this is yeah a big level of resistance. It's another 500%, which is absolutely nuts. And yeah, a lot of people think these things don't happen anymore, which is true. It happens very rare the last years, but they do happen. They have happened before in actual alt seasons in 2017 and 2021, which yeah, this was quite normal in charts. So imagine that this happens again. You want to be at the right moment in the right alts, and then you need to check the Bitcoin pair. So I probably think we're going to retest there, and yeah, this it looks like a breakout. To me, it looks like we're going above here, especially because we also broke out against the USDT, which was also quite interesting here to see the actual bottom. So look, this massive pump we had here in 2021. I think it went from actually like 50 mil market cap or something around there, and it retraced all the way back down here. Took out this low with the wick, and this was the time to enter for pancakes. And if you did here in February, it's already a 3x. So yeah, you can do the math here, and this is not even a real breakout here. So yeah, I'm quite amazed by looking at all these BTC pair charts because you can just see how clean the TA is and how simple it actually can be. So yeah, the real fireworks for PancakeSwap happens when we break out here, and I took another one for PancakeSwap. I didn't want to. I really wanted to put this one in because this is the BNB pair. Of course, Cake is the DEX on the BNB ecosystem, and we're seeing the same thing here. We're seeing almost a breakout. Here we have the rejection still, but also here you see these crazy possibilities. So let's say we retrace all the way here. This is almost 300%. And top side liquidity is 1500%, which is absolutely crazy. So I think we're going to see an altcoin run for Cake, a real altcoin run, not like the push we've seen this week. It could take a little bit longer, but yeah, everything is lining up here actually. As you can see, these patterns, they just play out the way they often do in history. So I wouldn't bet against this. Then Gala Games. Yeah, this is hard to trade because you don't really see strength here yet. You see, this is a clear downside, and this would have been a clear sell area. This was the altcoin run in 2024. This was the time to get out of your Gala Games. Yeah, it's been quite a run downwards. Here, you're losing 80% against BTC. With a simple trade, it's just simply notifying, okay, this is a time where I should sell it. And even if you don't want to sell it to BTC, which is fine, if you think BTC is going down or you don't want to hold BTC, you can still look at it from Confluence side of things against USDT. Then Dogecoin, also very, very clean chart. and it's basically repeating a similar pattern as we had in 2000, all the way. Look at this. We're going back all the way on Binance, 2040, which is nuts. Here we had this massive altcoin run in 2020, where we did, yeah, this is unbelievable. You see these candles, but this is over 8,000%, which is absolutely nuts. And we're forming a similar type of wedge. Like I said, these almost always break to the upside. This is upside consolidation pattern. And yeah, if you look at these BTC pairs, the ones I showed you, yeah, you just said, okay, there's time for an actual altcoin season. We did not have the real altcoin season yet. Let's say you go to the top side. I don't think the upside potential in Dogecoin, uh, which in a run like this, of course, you're working with multipliers of market cap, so the upside potential is less. There's so many moon boys who will call, yeah, it's going 100x again, but it does not make sense from a market cap standpoint for something like Dogecoin. But something like 500% would be very, very doable if you break out here, which is it's a very good result, of course. So something that could trigger that. Oftentimes, it's often the news that follows the chart breakout. So you could see a Doge ETF or Elon Musk using Dogecoin for payments on X. This could all be triggers. The same thing with XRP. You can see all of a sudden you see a BlackRock ETF coming, and bam, you're at the upside liquidity. So those are the triggers. I always say the chart, the news will yeah, the news will come when you see the charts. So the news will tell the story, but the chart will tell it first. Then you can also pick. You don't have to pick BTC charts as I just did. I picked BNB, which is a very good one. You want to look at the same ecosystem charts, and the same thing with XLM, XRP. Because here's we had sort of a breakout, but yeah, this was just a spike, 2 week spike, but this is also a very long downward wedge. So personally, I'm bullish on both XRP and XLM, but at some point, I believe it's not going to take too long anymore. Within a year, I think actually XLM is going to have another spike again, and it's going to be outperforming XRP hard based on yeah, mainly this chart. So yeah, that would be quite interesting. Of course, XLM is a lot lower cap, so that could explain something. And yeah, potential triggers are XLM being used for the payments on X, which is a real candidate. I made a video about this as well, so that's a possibility. All right, I've been through everything. I hope this video was valuable. When I first discovered this type of BTC pairs, I was really yeah, was really valuable for me to really look at the confluence, and I try to always take a look at when I'm buying something for, especially for the longer term. Does it line up with the BTC charts, even if you don't yeah, want to hold BTC for whatever reason? It's still good to take a look at these charts. All right, so that's it for this one. Yeah, support the channel by subscribing and leaving a comment, and talk to you in the next one.